Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. Riku Kunimoto scored his second win on the bounce, actually, against Eiki Kani, both Japanese fighters. This was a quarterfinal contest in the Matchroom Japanese Prizefighter tournament that's going on. And for the 27-year-old Kunimoto, like I say, it was a repeat win because his previous fight, in fact, as recent as March of this year, was against Eiki Kani. Now, the reason for this return, I think, was because the first fight was stopped in the sixth round, but it was considered to be probably a bit of a premature stoppage. Kani came in with 8 wins, 4 defeats and 3 draws. So it's a very patchy-looking record. But the only stoppage defeat was to Kunimoto back in March. And he's one of those guys who, I mean, he's only 22. And you wonder, how tough has he been matched? By the way, these are middleweights, and there aren't that many Japanese middleweights around, are there? But every single one of his fights, I think bar one, I can't remember where the other one was. It might have been someone like Indonesia. I'm only guessing there. But they've all been in Japan. So he's got this patchy record, but this was clearly his chance to sort of gate crash the party with this Japanese prizefighter tournament, because the winner of the tournament will get $1 million. And for Kunimoto and Kani, I can't believe they're going to get that sort of money anywhere else. But to be honest with you, there was no controversy with this rematch. Kunimoto pretty much dominated, with the exception of, I think, the 4th round. It was stopped in, was it the 3rd round? Stopped in the 5th round this time, legitimately. I mean, it was an accumulation of punishment. The referee stepped in and stopped it in the 5th round. But one of the rounds previously, it might have been the 3rd, Kani threatened to sort of take over because, you know, Kunimoto had been basically having his evil way with him, just battering him. And for the first 2 rounds, Kani looked like he was just there for the hell of it, there for the fun of it, maybe there for the paycheck. And Kunimoto was, you know, leathering him to the body, to the head. Kani was taking flush punches, high guard, very, very high guard. But to be honest with you, in that 3rd round, he looked like he suddenly came to life and he was going to turn it around. And it's not as if he really badly hurt Kunimoto, but he certainly got his attention and made him think about coming forward. But then in the 4th round, Kunimoto suddenly, I think for the first time, really hurt Kani with a big left hook. And he actually stumbled backwards into the ropes. And Kunimoto jumped on him and just started battering him from pillar to post. And in fact, the same thing happened a second time in that round, with a left hook. Kunimoto's pet punch seems to be the left hook. He certainly seemed to be having the most success against Kani with that punch. And Kani staggered back. I made that a 10-8 round for Kunimoto. That was at the 4th round. And you knew then that he'd put Kani back in his box, that Kani really didn't have much to offer. I wouldn't say the fight necessarily went out of him, but the will to win, or maybe the desire to win, did. It was just a case of, I'm not going down. And in fairness to Kani, he didn't hit the floor at all. But in the 5th round, it was just more of the same, total one-way traffic. Kani just taking a beating, not just being beaten, but beaten up. And the referee, I think, after there was one particularly hard, flush, full-blooded punch, too many, and the referee stepped in and stopped it, and no one complained. But make no mistake about it, Kunimoto will have a, far more difficult time in the semi-final, because he's actually going to take on Takesako, Kazuto Takesako, who won his quarterfinal against Mark Dickinson. And that was a close, tough fight for Takesako. A very tough fight. Dickinson did very, very well in that fight, and you could actually make a case for a draw or even a Dickinson win. Would have been interesting to see what the cards would have been if that had been in England. But Japan doesn't have a reputation for bad decisions. I think rightly so. I think most of the time they're perfectly fair. But Kazuto Takesako versus Riku Kunimoto, that'll be an interesting fight. Just off the cuff, I would probably, I don't know, I might favour Kunimoto slightly, even though he had by far the easier gig in the quarterfinals. He's 27, whereas Takesako is 33, and Takesako's lost 2 of his last 4. The only 2 defeats of his career, actually. Whereas Kunimoto, he has been beaten once. He got beaten back in 2021. And guess who that was to? Go on, have a guess. It was to Kazuto Takesako. First round knockout, would you believe? So he's looking for revenge. He's looking for big time revenge. And that semi-final should be a real barn burner, I think, because, you get blown out in a round. I mean, sometimes you just get caught cold. I think that's probably what happened against Takesako. So no question, Kunimoto will be looking for revenge. And he is, like I say, the younger man by 6 years. So I'm really looking forward to that semi-final. This is a good little tournament, very good little tournament. I know it's over the hills and far away in Japan. This DAZN card with all 4 quarterfinals took place in English time. It was, I think the card started about 9 in the morning on Monday. So I was at work, hence the reason I'm only just doing these review videos. But if you can see it, go on DAZN and have a look, because there's some good action on these cards, as there always is with Japanese cards. I mean, these are middleweights. Normally it's the little fellas we're watching, your flies, bantams and so on. But there's some action here too. And of course, it also means this rematch between Kunimoto and Takesako means that Japan will have a fighter in the final. And the person who wins the final gets $1 million. Not bad. A bit more than the 36 grand you used to get for those Prizefighter 3-round tournaments back in, 3 threes, 3 fights, 3 rounds, 3 minutes per round, all the threes, and you walk away with 36 grand if you want it. Yeah. Anyway, that's just a few little opinions on this particular fight. Go and have a look at the tournament. It's on DAZN if you're interested, and if you've got any comments, please leave them below. And also, of course, as always, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you don't mind, and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and bye for now.